Alright, so my name's Andrew Kim. I'm 23, senior in college, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I've had a camera by my side for the last 7 years or so, just documenting my life and everything that comes with it. It started out as a way to just explore the world and is soon turning into my livelihood. And these last 3 years specifically have just taken me on quite a ride. It's been music video after music video, and you may have seen some of them, you may have not, but I wanted to try something a little different this time. I haven't made anything personal in a while, but I'm graduating college soon and hopefully moving out to LA after, just kind of closing the last chapter in my life, so I guess I'm feeling a little sentimental. I really just want to talk. I got some shit to say, I guess. It's been an interesting last couple years for me. I've had my highest highs and my lowest lows, and early adult life has just been really weird. Especially now in this digital age, everything just feels like it's constantly developing along with our own lives, and it's really weird and it's frustrating and it's tiring, and there's just infinite information out there and opportunities in our reach, and still sometimes it just feels like we're stuck. It feels even more difficult sometimes when I'm chasing a passion as an artist, especially when we're starting out. There's constant change and we have no structure, no fallback plan, no one to show us how everything works. We just gotta figure it out. So that's what I'm gonna call this stage, the figuring it out stage. This stage started for me when I got to college in the fall of 2019. I was majoring in film and media arts at the University of Utah, and I was in this new state thousands of miles away from all my friends and family. And I just felt out of place. I don't know, Utah's it's a strange place. But yeah, I had dealt with seasonal depression in the past, but I developed some pretty bad general and social anxiety that first semester. Once the seasonal depression kicked in, I just got stuck in a really sad cycle. I was staying in my dorm room, isolated and disassociated every day through my freshman year. Then COVID hit, which, I packed my stuff and drove back to Maryland. And I was going through the same cycle in Maryland for months. Once things started opening back up again, I just needed something to do. I feel like everyone did. It was around this time my old friend Mike I used to play basketball with started making music, and it was really good. I wanted to figure out a way for us to work on something together, and that thought process is how I ended up shooting my first music video. The Lot Going On video was really the start of this whole journey. I was editing on my laptop that lagged like crazy and crashed every 15 minutes, and still just having a blast putting something together and completing that whole creative process. I think it took me like 2 days just to mask Micah and do the whole little title transition, but yeah, I'm just thankful that he even trusted me with that video and gave me that opportunity. That whole experience is really special to me just because it was that first step I took to start this whole journey. After that, I just tried to find other local artists I could potentially shoot for. I shot some videos here and there, and it's funny because I had no idea what I was doing. Zero clue what a treatment was, never done a shot list, never even come up with a concept for a project before, let alone know where to even start with a music video. And I don't find myself to be naturally gifted at things either. It was just something that I was okay with doing for fun, and it's not like I was getting paid a lot, if any at all, so relieving that pressure of getting paid a lot for more creative spontaneity on my end, and in all honesty, made me more comfortable with trying things and fucking up. At that point I was just having fun. As the music video slowly progressed, it just kind of felt like my anxiety did too. I was getting some more opportunities, but really I was just battling with my own mental health just to even function as a person. I ended up getting the chance to shoot some music videos out in LA, and it was everything I wanted, but my anxiety just really ruined it for me. One night I ended up having my first panic attack, and it just catapulted me into this weird headspace where I wasn't myself. Right after LA, I got some super cool opportunities to shoot some videos for this YouTuber I really look up to at the time and this DJ I had just met, and just trying to balance school and chasing these opportunities while going through it mentally was really difficult. These music videos were consuming so much of my headspace, time, and energy. It was just really draining trying to shift my mindset back and forth between the music videos and school. When winter crept up, everything just kind of got worse. The seasonal depression mixed with my anxiety just kind of took over. I didn't handle these opportunities like I should have, and I was really just getting stuck in my shell. I was just overextending myself at a time where I needed to do the opposite. I was pushing my limits mentally and really just trying to distract myself as much as I could with these videos. I wanted to take that next step, but honestly, I just didn't know how. At that point, I could barely even function as a person. But it feels like the start of 2021 was a really crucial part to this whole little story. It, in my head, almost feels like a training scene in a motivational sports movie, but I was just sitting at my desk. I was still in a terrible headspace, but in a sense that almost forced me to spend my time focusing on my videos. It was a way for me to be in my own world, and I knew if working on these videos was going to be my outlet, I had to find a way to make it more enjoyable. So yeah, the first thing I dealt with was my laptop. I just couldn't stand editing on that thing anymore. It was honestly driving me crazy. I ended up investing all my music video money into a PC just because it felt like it was going to be this tool that was going to help me take that next step. I spent the next couple months just working as much as I could, and I ended up making some of my favorite videos around this time. I was definitely still fucking up a lot, but I felt myself getting better and it felt good. I went through this phase where I really just went through the process of trial and error over and over again until I found things that worked. The field was getting more and more competitive, so I thought the only way to make it was to try and outwork everyone. I think being stuck in Utah and just being unable to shoot really just built up that internal sense of anticipation. I just had to wait till I was back home, and it made me want it even more. I thought I could just work my ass off and everything was going to go to plan, but obviously I was super naive and haven't gotten to maybe where I dreamed of yet, but this isn't some heroic rise to the top story. I'm just your everyday student artist trying to figure it out. I feel like I have to tell that to myself a lot. You know, we can get so consumed with what others are doing or accomplishing, especially chasing a media-driven passion. It's way too easy to put yourself up for comparison and just feel shit about your own work or where you're at. And, you know, I was definitely seeing a lot of people just doing what I was doing, but at a higher level, and it was frustrating and definitely added an aspect of toxic motivation. I think that's a big reason why I was working so much around this time. I was just seeing more and more successful young artists and just felt like I was doing something wrong if I wasn't quite reaching that level. I don't know, I felt like everyone had it figured out and understood how everything worked, and I didn't. I still had no fucking clue what I was doing. That summer I came back to Maryland and shot this mini YouTube series called Backstage Pass with my friend Josh, and we did this whole cave type thing where we had some of our friends come in and they would make a song. It was a lot of work, but honestly we were really just hanging out. Doing this project really just felt like the good old times, and it's stupid to say because it was like 2 years ago, but that's just kind of how it feels.
Too much.
Then, at the end of summer, I ended up getting hit up by this photographer I used to really look up to cover this festival out in Utah, and I honestly think he was like the first photographer I ever followed on Instagram back in like 2015 or something, but yeah, he was working with this company that was covering this event, and they needed video and photo for their social media and stuff. The festival was going great. It was my first time covering one, and I was really just winging it. It was a great experience, and I got to see Vale perform out there for the first time, and I got to meet a lot of really dope people, and somehow got in the situation where Dre London was arguing with security to let me in backstage at one point, which, you know, just random stuff like that is really cool. But yeah, that dude that hooked me up with the gig decided he didn't want to pay me for any of the work I had just done. I was sending them files and they were posting it, and he just started switching up as everything went on and ended up not paying me, so that was a lesson. It was a big wake-up call for me. I realized I had a lot of learning to do on the business side of everything. When I got back to school, I decided to save up for this new camera. I ended up getting the FX6 and had to split it up into monthly payments. I was working like 4 shifts a week while taking 17, 18 credits while trying to learn how to use this camera and take that next step in my career. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a really difficult semester just trying to figure out how to balance things. I just wanted to focus on my music videos, but that was just never my situation. I had started to go to therapy and take medication, so I was doing a little better mentally, but just the amount of work I was doing was just starting to take a toll on me. I felt myself burning out a lot, and it was just that sacrifice I had to make for this camera that, to me at the time, felt like it could help me take that next step. I had a lot of exciting projects planned for that winter break, and I was just excited to try out the new camera. And then I got hit up by Redville. We'd done a couple photo shoots up to that point, but I didn't really know if I was even capable of shooting a music video for him. And he ends up asking exactly that. With me just getting this new camera and feeling like I learned all these new things, I was stoked. Felt like I finally got my big opportunity. We ended up shooting the shoulder video, and it was a great experience, but with this new camera, it just almost felt like I took a step back. There were still things I needed to learn, and I was honestly just kind of unprepared. But at the time he sent me Shoulder, he sent me another song, and it was a lot more upbeat and had a lot of energy to it. We had planned on doing a video for it, but we just couldn't get the timing right, so we ended up having to scrap it. A few months passed, and I was back in school, and I had done a handful of videos with my FX6 now. I was feeling more comfortable and confident in myself, and I was just learning a ton, and it felt like I'd improved since the Shoulder shoot. Then I got a text from Vale saying he wants to shoot the video we had scrapped. It felt like perfect timing for me. I learned from the last couple shoots, and I wasn't going to let myself fuck this one up. We ended up shooting the whole video in one pretty packed day, and I was back off to Utah. I got through the editing process, and I just had this excitement inside me that didn't stop. I couldn't stop listening to the song, and it felt like I'd done the best possible job I could have. But yeah, he started rolling out Learn to Swim, and right after that, the video we originally scrapped came out. That was and will be for a long time the most special video to me. After that, it felt like the ball started rolling. I was getting opportunities that were exciting, and it felt really good. People were finally seeing my work, and I felt like I was finally on the right track. And the videos felt like they were improving, and I was feeling better mentally. I felt like I was finally seeing my hard work from the last few years pay off. And then at the end of summer, I had my first opportunity to shoot a budget music video. It really just felt like the cherry on top. These ended up being the Mars I'm working on videos. The process of forming these is single-handedly the most I ever learned creating anything. We had a ton of work that needed to be done, including getting an ambulance to shoot in, which, let me say, in Maryland is very difficult. But yeah, we ended up clutching up and getting everything we needed done, and I'll just never forget that feeling of content on my flight back. I think I have a journal entry, but yeah, I was just so exhausted I'd never felt better, and that was probably the only flight I've really ever been able to sleep through. So then I got back to Utah, and I was starting my senior year. I was back working at the Korean barbecue restaurant and editing the Mars and working on it videos whenever I was home. Almost 2 weeks into the semester, I'm at work on a Sunday night, and it's slow, so I'm on my phone scrolling through Twitter. I see this tweet from this artist saying he needs a videographer's tour, and I just spontaneously link my work in the comments. And about an hour later, I get a DM from him, and the next day I'm on a call learning I'm going on tour for the next few months. This very specific week in my life just did not feel real at all. It felt like I blinked and it passed. I had 3 days to finish the Mars I'm working on it videos, tell my friends and family what was going on, and figure out my whole school situation since the deadline for dropping classes had just passed. Looking back at that week, I don't really remember much. It's just kind of a blur, but I basically left unknowing what was going on with my school, and I had absolutely no idea what I was jumping into. So yeah, if you know me, you know I left the tour early. It just wasn't an environment I wanted to continue to be in, and just wasn't the experience I had envisioned. Leaving that tour was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. I basically dropped everything for it and risked a lot just to leave a month later. I'm so glad I dropped the tour, but it put me in a really dark place. I got back to Utah and had literally no idea what I was doing. I just felt like I got thrown off my course and was absolutely lost. I felt like I just fucked up on the biggest opportunity of my life, and I didn't plan on doing anything for the next few months besides be on that tour. The whole experience definitely shifted my mindset in a lot of different ways, and it taught me a lot of things, and I came out of it with a different perspective, but I also needed to build my confidence back up. It made me more unsure of my own abilities than I had been in a long time. I had 1 year till graduation when I got back, so I was really just trying to learn as much as possible and widen my horizons. I somehow needed to figure out how in the next year I was going to set myself up to develop this passion project I started a few years ago into a full-time career. It's a daunting thought, and it still scares me, but after dropping that tour, I just knew I really had to get my shit together. Now, looking back, writing this in October, I don't know if 2023 was what I needed it to be. I'm not sure you really ever got that confirmation in this kind of industry. I shot a few videos to start the year off. And the team and I went through the process of planning Unusual and finding all the locations for the video. And then they came out to Utah and we road trip for 4 days, and we shot the video, and it was an amazing experience. And I literally left the next day to go to India, which is just crazy. I don't know. We shot the Captain music video out there, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I almost got arrested. But yeah, then the video got featured on a Times Square billboard, which is fucking nuts, and then Unusual got selected into a film festival, so it felt like I was headed in the right direction. Summer came around and I shot some videos on the East Coast and then some more on the West Coast. It felt like a good year. I finally feel like I've been able to get my life at least somewhat together, and I'm having fun again. But I don't know what next year holds. I'm taking that next step in life and I have no idea what's going to happen. I feel like everything I've done up to this point has just been to give me a fighting chance once I got to this crossroad, and now I just have to take that leap. It's scary. I feel like I'm basically jumping into the dark, but I feel like I proved to myself that I can do this. One thing I'm forever grateful that I did was keep a camera by my side through this time. I think being the person with the camera, it's so important to document your life. We have the literal tools to do so, and it's honestly just amazing to have all these memories compiled. Even during those times when I was battling my mental health or trying to balance school, I think just going through all my hard drives, archiving footage, and just rediscovering these memories during those times, it really brought me back through this whole journey with a different perspective. I think it's really important to step back sometimes and reflect the journey you're on. It just helps the big picture make a little bit more sense. So, yeah, I just hope for anyone listening that my journey was helpful and that maybe you can relate to or even take something good out of this, but if not, I hope that you can take the time to appreciate the journey you're on. Whatever you're going through now, it's important to your story and we're always going to be figuring it out, so there's really no point in rushing it. And I'm not trying to make this overly dramatic. I'm not trying to make it sound like I've had the hardest life possible. I'm just going through this weird stage in life like a lot of us are. There's a lot of changes in our life and some are good, some are bad, but we just gotta keep pushing forward. If I've learned anything through all these experiences, it's that life is gonna life. You can't change that, but you can be there for the ride. There was a lot of times over the last few years where I didn't feel like I was okay, and each one of those times allowed for an opportunity for myself to grow. And looking back over the last few years, I'm proud of who I am now. I feel like I've been able to fight myself out of a dark time and create a life for myself that I honestly love. That's all I can really ask for. I've still got a lot of learning and growing to do, but that's never gonna stop. And yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen by the time I make the next one of these, but it's an exciting thought. I guess I'll leave it at that.